This trick will help when you install the 3 base bolts later on. If you bought the entire model at once, you'll have both the engraved drum plate from issue 28 and the base plate from issue 40. Now before putting any parts on these plates, take the engraved drum plate and on the top of the plate locate the marks for November 22nd. Now taking a felt marker, or if you don't want to mark the plate up, take a small piece of tape and where the tick mark is for November 22nd, make a small mark on the edge of the plate. I'm making mine a little larger so you can see it in the video. Flip the engraved drum plate over and set it down on your work surface. Take your base plate and locate the side that has a groove in it for the drum sections to sit in. Flip this plate over so that that groove matches the groove in the engraved drum plate. Locate the 3 holes for the base bolts and the 3 threaded holes in the engraved plate and put these plates together so that the 3 holes for the base bolts line up on the base plate with the 3 threaded holes in this engraved drum plate. Now taking the felt marker, locate the mark you made on the engraved plate and transfer that mark onto the base plate. These marks will be used later on to line the 2 plates together. Separate these plates and now you're able to continue assembly by adding parts to these plates. An alternate method can be done after you have received your base bolts. Locate on your engraved drum plate the mark for November 22nd. Flip the plate over and there should be a threaded hole for one of the base bolts nearby. Keeping track of where that hole is, flip the plate back over and it should be below the mark between October and November. Your plate may be different. Take the base plate and locate one of the holes for the base bolt. Now taking one of your drum sections, put it in the groove of the plate, lining up the edge of the plate with the center line of the hole. Then set the other drum section onto the base plate. Take the engraved plate with the line between October and November, or whatever date you found, and set it onto the drum sections so that lines up with the seam of the 2 drum sections. Take a base bolt, place it on the end of an Allen wrench, tilt the base up, and thread the bolt through the bottom plate and it should line up with a threaded hole in the engraved plate. Rotate the base a third of a turn, get another base bolt, and place it through the second hole. Again, it should line right up. Now rotate the base again and take in the 3rd base bolt, thread it into the final hole. Leave these bolts loose. Rotate it to where you can see November 22nd on the engraved plate and slide the drum section so that the seam between the 2 plates lines up with the mark on November 22nd. Taking your felt marker, follow the seam down to the base plate and put a little mark on the edge of that plate. Now you can continue. Now with a mark facing you on the base plate, take a drum section that has Scorpio on the edge and set this section into the groove on the base plate so that the edge with Scorpio lines up with the mark on the base plate. Set the other drum section onto the base plate in the groove and take the engraved drum plate and set it on top of the drum sections so that November 22nd lines up with the seam between the 2 sections. Now you'll have to turn the shaft so that the tab on the shaft falls into the groove in the shaft of the motor. Make sure the marks are lined up with the seam. Then you're ready to take and install the bolts. Carefully tilt the model up, thread the bolt through the bottom hole, and it should line right up with the threaded hole in the engraved plate up above. Rotate the model a third of a turn, get another base bolt, and install it into the second hole. If you use a short Allen wrench, you won't have to tip the model as far as you would with a long Allen wrench. Now insert the final bolt, making sure the plates are tight together against the drum sections, and insert the third bolt. Now with all three bolts in, you can tighten them down securely. This completes installing the base bolts.